and this is my costume construction. As you can see, I chose the pattern Simplicity 8629, Firefly Path, and here's a picture of the pattern. I chose the play She Kills Monsters by Q Nijin. If you don't know about this play, it is about two sisters, one who ends up passing away, and for the other to find out more about her sister, she goes on a Dungeons and Dragons adventure that her sister had created. And through the show, they have to fight many different bosses. The first boss they fight is Farah, a beautiful forest fairy with an evil and violent side. So Farah is mentioned to be a cute little fairy, but she's actually very dark and violent. So I thought it would be very interesting to do a little twist on make this fairy a little more dark, but still elegant and beautiful, and something you would think is still cute and sweet, but you can see the dark side of it. As you can see, this is my itemized expenses of my fabric, which I got at Joann's. And now this is all just my other notions and things I had bought, which ended up being, all of it ended up being a total of $86.45. Here are just some pictures throughout my construction process. As you can see, this is when I was working on the corset. I have a picture of when I had half of it done, and then when I had gotten all of the boning in. And with this one, you can see I made dots to know where I was going to put each grommet, and then I have a picture of after. With this, I had chosen where I wanted to do my flowers, and I had took a picture of starting, and then when I was close to finishing. This is just a beautiful picture of when I had finished putting all of the ribbon on. This is my skirt before it had its zipper and snaps on, and after. This is just a part of the overskirt that you will see in the next slide. In this slide, you see that I had added all the layers together and made sure it was scrunched up. And in the next picture, you see that I have added the waistband as well as flowers and beads. And now to show you my finished costume. This is my finished costume. First, let's talk about the cape. Some people would think of it more as a cape, but for me and the character, I think it works more as wings. As you can see, I did each individual tuck on each single one. There are 2 that go in the front and 2 in the back. And then there is this beautiful chain with a beautiful little gem that I attached using grommets. So the next thing to go on to is this overskirt. So let me get this up for you guys. So for this one, it has 3 different levels of leaves. You have the first one that is the small, and then there is a medium length and a long. And I bet you can't tell, but each one has its own tucks. So after I had put on all the tucks for each one, I made sure to line each row up and use it, and then stretch it, make sure it got into this little crumpled way so it would fit with the waistband. And then I sewed them all together, of course. And then I added the waistband and put on these grommets on both sides so you could tie it in front. And lastly, I hand sewed on each individual flower and beads that go with them. So, for the next thing we're going to look at is the skirt. Now let me take it off for you so you guys can look at it better. So this skirt has 3 different layers. You first have the beautiful tulle, and then our main fabric we were focusing on using, and then on the inside is the beautiful lining. So I stitched each one together and made sure to shrink them up to fit the waistband and then sewed them all together. And then I applied the waistband and put that on. And lastly, what I did was I put it in a zipper, as you can see. And let me just zip it up for you guys. And I also added some little snaps to go with it to make it a little better. And then the fabric flows, so it does make it so you can cover the zipper when you are wearing it. But you still have access to it. Let's move on to the final piece. Now this is the corset. This is probably the one that took the longest time. I had to put in each interfacing on each single piece of this main fabric. And then when I put in the botting in, I decided to do a way so you didn't see it through this in a way of a secret stitch. And after I had done that, I had added in the lining to go next, as you can see. And after I had put in the lining, I went and started with the grommets. I had set each grommet in, and you can see this little back panel to not show any skin. And then I finally laced it up with this beautiful ribbon. And then you can see there's this overlay part where it also has many different tucks throughout the whole thing just to make it more flowy and wavy. So I had stitched the top part on, and then I made sure to sew each individual flower and little gems to go on. And there you have it. That is my final costume.